And welcome to Matrix Talk.
Hello
Kevin
there.
is here and Phil's over there,
I'm right here.
and we have several people on. And so, if you would please check in.
Yeah.
In the lower right, there's a little chat box, and you can say hi from wherever you're from, however you'd like to put it, city, state, country, whatever. Also, while we wait, because we'll hang out about 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Bear, Delaware.
Delaware. Why
Good
we're going to
afternoon,
hang out a few
There's
minutes.
Tina.
Other people come on. Do you want to be in the chat or
With us?
video with us, Tina? Tina's our colleague. So I asked, and she does both. Chat, please. We're good. Okay. You can go in the upper right and do a couple of things. One is follow us.
Please.
It's great. You could share us. Just click share and you can copy the link and it goes right over.
Put it on Twitter or Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere you want.
And you can do that anytime because this recording will be up and people could click that and get the recording. So that's cool. And of course, last but certainly not least is below the green button where it says click here to learn more about certification. So that brings us to today. We start many of our crowdcasts will count for 1 hour of CEU credits for the folks who have been certified. And yes, if you're already certified, you're grandfathered in, you don't have to worry about
Not a problem.
However, we would like people who are certified in ACT, Matrix, or psychological flexibility training to keep their game up. And so going forward, we'll have them collect 10 a year, which is 10, essentially 10 of these crowdcasts per year. And we do 3 a week, folks. So
many opportunities.
Many opportunities. So that's what that's for. And we'll make sure they're counted and gets into your certification. If you're not certified, check it out below.
Yeah.
Well, you can work through the process
we
of
can help
getting
you with
certified.
that. Yep.
We'll put you up on the web page, put a link back to your website, advertising. We'll do crowdcasts and stuff with you.
Sure. Have you come on and join us.
Right. So cool stuff, certification. And we have 40 or 50 people certified already. So we're getting up there.
We are.
Working along. And just in another minute, we'll fire up. And this is a beginning ACT Matrix, or also known as psychological flexibility training broadcast. We're at 10. Jasmine's on, Tina's on, Hannah's on.
Oh, nice.
Mel's on. Paula's here.
Okay.
Matthew's here. Avern's here. San Jones is here.
Cool. All right.
And we got quite a few people.
Nice.
104. Well, we'll call it at 104.
Let's do it.
So here's how this goes, folks. This is beginning. This is the beginning. And always in the beginning, you just as fast as you can.
Hi, John.
Ask somebody if, something like this. Hey, can I show you the psychological flexibility point of view? So what do you folks think? Would you like me and Phil to show you the psychological flexibility point of view, or a psychological flexibility point of view, however you want to put it? We'll see if anybody's interested. Maybe not. Maybe they went, the heck with it. I'm out of here. Why not? Well, there you go. See, a nice.
Why not? And we got it Indeed.
Now we have it Indeed. All right. We have some people, and that's all you need. That is absolutely all you need. And
We're up and running now.
You say great. So here you go. It has a vertical line at the top of the vertical line. This point of view has senses. That's referring to your five senses. At the bottom of the vertical line, it has mind. You know what mind is. It has a horizontal line and with arrow points on either end. And over to the right is satisfaction. That is the feeling of satisfaction. And over to the left is the feeling of relief. So there you go. And then to do this, make it into a point of view, we start by asking the first question, which is in the lower right-hand quadrant, formed by those two lines. And the question is, who's important to you? So we all answer, who's important to us? And so for me, I can say, my dear wife is important. And Tina has
husband. I would say wife, but I'm going to also say children today.
Wife and children. There we go.
Adult
Other
children.
Still like Jasmine or Hannah or John can chime in, and you can repeat what we've said or what someone else has said. Come up with your own. Anybody got somebody who's important to them? You go, let me see. Who's important to me?
Let me think about that.
I come up with my wife. I can also say my children. My children are important to me.
I would say my friends are important to me. Oh, my stuffed animal. There you go.
Animal. There you go. Oh, John, his parents are important. There we go. Very cool. So, and forevermore, when you're using this point of view, important people and stuff go in the lower right quadrant. That's
right
where
there.
we sort them into. In the lower left, we're still in the mind. So in the lower left, that's where yucky stuff that shows up inside of us go. And what we mean by yucky stuff is stuff like fear. So fear shows up inside of you and it doesn't feel good. Yucky. And so we call it yucky. Now, we're humans, so turns out we have lots of yucky feelings and thoughts that show up. And so we all have some more examples. So I gave you fear. Can anybody think of any other unpleasant feelings or unpleasant thoughts that show up? Doesn't necessarily have to be yours. It can be somebody else's that you've heard about. There's a lot in the news. If you watch the news, you'll see.
Just scroll.
I
put tired down.
Tired. Phil put tired. We'll see. Maybe I think we got slow chat today.
You think?
Yep, I do.
Yeah, we got a delay.
It's a delay.
Derek, tired times two.
Tired with Tina. Other folks can chime in.
Chatting in now.
One of the very most popular ones is anxiety. So I'll go ahead and throw anxiety in because if you can, please do. I'm familiar with anxiety, Tina says. So other folks, it looks like there's a big delay, but type it in anyway, and we'll just it'll.
Yeah, we'll go back in there and put them in.
And by the way, another biggie that goes down there is pain, physical pain, because we're talking about inside stuff. Sometimes this stuff down here is called inside the skin stuff. So pain, whether it be psychological pain or physical pain, either one. So you get the idea. So we have this yucky stuff. Now humans, guilt. Oh, that's a popular one. So we humans, and I mean all humans, when yucky stuff shows up inside of us, we just right away get the urge to not have it, at least reduce it, like pain. So you might go, I've got some pretty severe pain, but if I take some aspirin or something, at least it'll lower the pain, right? I mean, you're very motivated to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say
immediately,
something shows up and a whole lot of fear shows up inside of you. At an early age, you learn to run away. Okay. So
still running.
Now we call it hide, right?
Yeah, right.
We hide. And so you can come up with your own, what there is something that many people at least do when guilt shows up inside of them. And these are observable behaviors. So everything above the left, that horizontal line is above the horizontal line is observable. So we can see you run. Coffee for tired, probably. Anxiety, I want to go ahead and throw it in, folks. This is where drug use goes. And when we say drugs, we mean alcohol, pot, any over-the-counter drugs you can think of, whatever.
You can get your hands on.
Heroin, cocaine, drugs. And they are obviously extraordinarily popular for anxiety and fear and pain and such. And you'll hear a lot about that on the news. So there you go. So Phil has it drawn up where we have the upper left filled in. And finally, we go to the upper right where we're looking for satisfaction. And, over on the left, plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. On the right, it's, ooh, I do this and it feels so good. It feels so satisfying. So let's say I love my dear wife and I get her a cup of coffee in the morning. And that's very satisfying to me. I have noticed satisfaction showing up after I do that. So my others here might know of satisfying behaviors, at least behaviors that are most often satisfying when you do them in the service of your important relationships, right? So anybody else got one?
I'm going to say watch Netflix with my children.
There you go. Watch Netflix with the kids, with the children. John says,
talk to parents.
Call your mom, right? Call your dad. Call them. Exactly. And that comes in often. Well, what else? We got children in general like to play.
They do.
Let's play. In the upper right for children.
You got friends.
We
can have lunch with the friends. I'm going to have lunch with my friends.
Let's go have lunch. Tina, make a nourishing meal for my husband.
Make a nourishing
meal. By
the
way, you'll find that feeding important people is a biggie. So nourishing.
And your important people would agree with that too.
Dinner, breakfast, whatever. Feed them.
Something with the stuffed animal now.
I don't know. I guess you dust them or something. I don't know. It might be satisfying, I know a lot of people have collections of them and arrange them, and I'm sure that's satisfying.
Oh. Collect them. How about hug them?
And so now you have the idea that that's where things go in the four quadrants. To make it a point of view, a way of looking at things, we draw a circle right in the middle. Phil's going to do that. And we write the word notice. And so now, then you wonder, and you wonder this out loud, I wonder if I or you might have the opportunity to notice who's important to me and yucky stuff and relief behaviors and satisfaction behaviors showing up in the next week or so. So what do you think? Do you think you might have the opportunity to notice that stuff showing up? Let's see if we get any. We got a yes.
There you go.
Very nice. And there may be others on too that are having trouble getting their chats through. So it happens. And so with that, we oftentimes, if we have time, Tina says yes, if we have time, we do a second loop. By the way, this is optional. If you feel pressed for time and you really only got time for the first one, do the first one.
Do the first one.
It's pretty rare that you would do the second one first. That's rare. Wait till later in your matrix career to do that. But many people find they may only have 5 minutes or something, and so they'll do the first loop. But there is a second loop, and it's called the prosocial loop or the we loop, because the first one was about you or me, the individual. This is about 2 or more people together, 2 to several billion. It's just we.
Yes. It's expandable.
Whatever we is, right? And with this one, everything's the same. So we just changed the lower right quadrant question, and we ask, what's our shared purpose? Because people that are a we, including we on the bus, strangers on the bus or whatever, have a shared purpose. And all you got to do is think a little bit, and you'll think, oh, yeah, yeah, we do. We have a shared purpose. Yeah. So, like today, we may have a shared purpose for today, for showing up here to this crowdcast today. We might have a shared purpose. Mine will be to what? Increase.
Yeah, go ahead.
Increase psychological fitness.
I said
behavior plans with high fidelity. Oh my goodness!
Wow. Okay.
Technical talk. Woo. Mine's just going to be increased psychological flexibility.
That's what we just did, right? With high fidelity.
Like them old phonographs.
I was just thinking the same thing, Kevin. We have seasoned minds. High five. Listen to it in high five.
And John, I'm sure you're a youngster. Bill and I were raised in the days of high fives.
Practice. Tina's here to practice.
Practice, exactly. Doing the matrix, doing 1 and or 2 loops is a practiced activity, folks. And just is. So practice is important. What else might be a shared purpose? How about world peace?
Always.
Oh, Rod has built teamwork in our org. Oh, yeah, Rod. Cool for you, Rod.
Nice.
Yes. And the prosocial matrix, most particularly, tends to build teamwork automatically. So when you're with other people, you may have noticed that there is a special class of yucky stuff that shows up.
Right over here.
I'm going to stick with fear, okay? Because we know from tons of research and also tons of just personal experience, other people are scary, right? Meaning fear shows up when you're around others. Tina says confusion shows up when you're around others. Yeah, that's popular. So, and it's yucky. So we have fear, confusion, annoyed.
I added fear of judgment.
Yeah, fear of judgment. And we have annoyed.
And annoyed. That's a favorite.
And these are ones, rejection. Oh my, fear of rejection. Yeah. And right. So, I mean, what we most fear is being rejected by other people. So once again, yucky stuff that is social yucky. It's within the social realm that it most often shows up. Okay. So there's the inside of you. We go up to the outside, the observable behaviors in the upper left. And guess what? The number one most popular relief move for social yuckies is. This is Isolation.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty close. That's what we say. What we say is don't go.
Avoid people.
Don't go, avoid, all of those words. And so that's what, I think Ron put in loneliness in the lower.
Okay, we'll put that in.
Call out from work, and that's perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So John, the thing is you go ahead and go to work. So now you showed up, but now you check out again.
Yeah.
And this is what
on second thought, I don't want to be here.
So what you'll see is people and this is the classic, is they show up to a meeting, right? And within seconds after they show up to a meeting, if you're watching them from above or whatever, they check out.
Roll my eyes.
They have no intention of participating or paying attention to the meeting whatsoever.
Or they're going to participate by complaint.
Right. Or so anyways, so then you get that. So those are the two biggies, so that you just don't show up at all. And if you do show up, you check out, meaning you put yourself in a position where you feel most safe. You're there, but you still feel safe. And by ducking. Why? Because we all fear rejection. We all fear judgment. We all fear
all that stuff down there.
All that stuff down there. So watch, folks. Watch yourself, and you'll notice much of this stuff showing up.
Yeah.
And finally, in the upper right, it's special, unlike the first loop, because it's talking about what behaviors might we do. We do. Like we do. To accomplish the shared purposes. Now that's a big question in lots of places. Like, gee, what might we do? Yeah, classic example. They used to, and I just saw one yesterday. I didn't participate on it, but I saw it. A ropes course. If anybody's ever been on a rope course.
Yeah.
And if you do it as a team, they'll put you in some situation, the get over the wall situation. So the shared purpose is to get over the wall. Well, then quickly people have to divvy up how are we going to get over the wall, and it's got to be done by teamwork. And not everybody can do the same thing. Or no, if everybody does the same thing, nobody gets over.
No one gets over the wall.
Right. So that's that kind of thing.
No,
right. And that's the whole thing is you have a meeting. In this case, it's a purposeful meeting, meaning what is each one of us going to do so that we accomplish this. So one of us might do the writing, another might carry water, another might chop wood. I don't know. You get the idea.
Make the coffee. That's important.
Make the coffee, right. We divvy up tasks. We figure out how we're going to achieve the shared purposes. And so all of that stuff, you can have sort of general things like communicate with respect. Those are universal things that you do in the upper right. But in the end, you always are going to end up with specific tasks that people need to do, because the world is run by people who show up and do stuff.
John says engage the client. Yes.
Okay, right. Well, that would be showing up and doing stuff right there, John.
Yep,
exactly.
You'd be doing engaging.
So that's it. Once again, to make it a point of view, same thing. You put notice in the middle and you wonder, gee, I wonder if I'll be in a situation where I'll have the opportunity to notice shared purposes showing up and social yucky stuff showing up and social relief moves showing up and shared purpose behaviors showing up. What do you think? You think you might have the opportunity to notice that stuff in the next week or so? Tina says yes. I say yes.
I would agree.
John says yes. Okay. And so with that, I did both loops of the matrix. matrix. Now, for certification purposes and for practice purposes, we recommend that you do both loops.
Yes.
Just like that. And folks, Phil and Tina and several people on this crowdcast are my witnesses. And they know when I do it, it sounds like that, what you just heard. Kevin Polk doesn't have a special secret way that he's holding back from you.
No.
By the
How we
way,
do it. I've done it for years.
right. Phil does it almost exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Do we use a different tone of voice? Do we have different vocal cords and stuff? Yeah. However, the presentation is, and John, you used the word early on, fidelity. Mm-hmm. We try and keep high fidelity. And for folks who don't know, that just means you're doing the same thing over and over. Everybody's doing the same thing.
It's repeatable.
It's repeatable, right? Practice language for a purpose. Yeah. And so you're even thinking as you're doing it, gee, does it sound like Kevin? Does it sound like Tina? Does it sound like Phil? Does it sound like somebody else that I know is certified and good at this? Because we want everybody doing it pretty close. It's impossible to get exactly close. Yeah. But that's what the term high fidelity is in this regard is. And so that's how you do it. And that's it. There's no more. If you wonder, come back and watch the recording and watch it again. And there's like hundreds of these out on the internet. Hundreds. You will see if you go way back, you will hear there was a time we were saying, and I'll say it right now, we were using away and toward instead of relief and satisfaction. For fidelity purposes, we switched to relief and satisfaction. And once again, for new people, I'll tell you, you'll have the urge sometime to say, oh, this is a behavior that is away from your values. Because values are in act, it's awful easy for that to leak out of you. And the matrix has nothing to do with that.
Absolutely not.
Nothing. The left side of the matrix is literally about getting relief from yucky stuff going on the inside of you. That's it. Always has been. From the first second it was ever created, and I know I was there. It came out of my head. It was always about that. I say it that way, folks. Let me editorialize a little talk. I've literally had people sort of look at me and say, no, Kevin, that's not the way it is. I'm the guy who created it. What do you mean? No, I always been. And why do I am so sure on that? It's because in my mind, the left side was about negative reinforcement. So there's the learning theories, Skinnerian and other learning theories that you'll probably learn about in school. Yep. Left side is negative reinforcement. Right side is positive reinforcement. So it's relief. Negative reinforcement is relief. And we all love relief, man. God dang. Don't I love it?
I go for it every day.
Every day I go for relief. And we all do. And so it has nothing. And if you say it the other way, oh, it's away from values, that's judgy.
I am moving away from my values right now.
Which brings me to the next point. This is extraordinarily non-judgmental. It's if you'll notice through that whole thing, I mean, somebody could have said, oh, I use heroin to get away from pain. And Phil would have wrote it down.
It would go, they told me it's a relief move.
Right. This matter of factly, functional about moving away. Yeah, there's nothing functional. You don't get any that's because it's all judgy. That's just a mental exercise.
It would go just like that.
Yeah, this is very
How it would look.
right. It would look just like that, and would go, oh, cool. So you've noticed that you use heroin to relieve pain.
For your pain.
Oh, there you go. And we go on. We're not judging it. We're simply. It's as if the person is walking along with you, doing a self-portrait.
Yep. And we're just helping them paint it as they go along.
We're just doing the brush strokes, but there's no judgment to it whatsoever. And that's something to practice with this, which is why we rail and stop. And we'll hear it to this day. We will still hear somebody
shows
say,
up all the time.
It's away from values. I'm like, that's
Stop.
judgment.
Time out.
That's a judgment.
Yep.
No. That's just not something we're doing here. We're literally inviting the person to look at themselves. Now, here's the thing. You will always look at yourself when you do this.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot help it. So as you roll through these, the 2 loops, you're going to look at yourself. You're going to think of who's important to you. You're going to think
your yucky stuff is going to show up.
You're going to think of your favorite relief moves. You're going to think of your favorite satisfaction moves. I mean, it's
the human condition, folks.
Relational frame theory it's called entailment. They're all entailed. It's all tangled together. And so if you're showing it to one, more, whoever, whatever, you're always doing it with yourself. So think about it. You do this 30 times, you've done 30 self-portraits. 100 is 100 self-portraits. You get the idea. That's why it becomes a mindful practice. There's no doubt about it. It's mindfulness without doing mindfulness.
Yep.
Because you're always going through. And then you'll catch yourself doing it yourself. You'll think, or you'll notice, that's important. Oh, yeah, that's yucky. Oh, that's a relief move.
Yeah.
That's a satisfaction move.
Yeah.
You'll just notice that. You also notice your 5 senses and mind, that kind of stuff. It's really, really quite interesting what happens as you practice doing this. It is absolutely not at all interesting what shows up if you don't practice. There's nothing there.
No curiosity about that.
That's just life as usual. So.
Yep. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Our clients might have all sorts of things that sound problematic to us, but it's not our job to fix things that aren't problematic to them. Exactly. I Tina was probably referring back to the heroin. Okay. Let's say somebody, I use heroin for pain. And we go, oh yeah, and just keep going on.
Yep.
And somehow over time we learn it ain't a problem for them.
Yeah.
They're not framing it up as a problem. Well,
they're here for something completely different.
So you would think, my job is to help them at least reduce their heroin use or switch to something less powerful or something, or do something. That's where society and all the verbal community wants to send us.
Then the rules that you're supposed to be following about this.
But it is right. And I literally have met those kind of people. It ain't a problem for them.
Nope. They're out there in the world doing their thing.
And if you think, how many people do you know that probably, statistically speaking, see, I'm being very, very careful with my words. Statistically speaking, use too much alcohol too frequently.
Too much.
Too frequently. And as I said, medically, if you don't like it that way, medically speaking. So from a medical point of view, their ingestion of alcohol is detrimental to their health, even just their physical health. Is anybody here on the call, have you known anyone like that in your lifetime? Yeah, I said that with a straight face. I mean, I've known so many of them. I've known so many of them, like hundreds.
Yes.
Thousands. No, I've known thousands, literally, because I used to work in that field. Some of them who would say, yeah, it's a problem, and others would go, no. And to this day, I know people that, listen, health-wise, it's a problem. And they go, nope, it's not a problem.
Not to me.
And you can see literally on their face and stuff.
The effects.
Right. It's killing them. But it ain't a problem for them. Well, it's not my job to fix it. Not my job to point out it's a problem. But it would be my job if they said, hey, I use alcohol to get relief from X. Write it down.
Yep.
That's all we do. We just look at it. So that's the non-judgmental. This is, what do we call it, Phil? Something non-judgmental.
Radical non-judgmentalism.
This is radical non-judgmentalism by practice. And it's not like you're going into it saying, I'm going to be non-judgmental. No. You just do it non-judgmental.
Yeah.
That's just the way
you don't have to take a philosophical stance here, folks.
No,
just do the loops.
You could stop doing the loops and go get judgy as you want.
Go right ahead.
Go
judge people as soon as you're done the loops. Have fun.
Have a blast. But during the 2 loops, no. You're just being matter of fact. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. Joe Friday, if you're old enough. Right. We're not judging them.
Nope.
We're just writing things down. So that's the other thing. And what else is to remember about beginning, Bill?
Well, there's another one that slips in. I don't know if it's beginning or intermediate, but it just popped into my head. Sometimes when people make that segue from the upper left to the upper right, they might say something like this.
Ooh, uh-oh.
What might you do instead of these relief moves?
Yeah. Here comes the instead. Tina. And Tina's
that's what she was going to say.
Tina's the other. And that's, by the way, folks, that's called sneaky judging.
Yeah.
We have a term for it. It's called sneaky judging.
Under the radar.
What you just said is, instead of doing those horrible relief moves,
dastardly bad relief moves,
wouldn't you think it would be a much better idea for you to
do these bright, shiny, satisfaction,
bright, shiny, wonderful? That's what you just said, and you said it all in just one word. Instead.
That's it. One word.
Yeah. You wrapped all of that judgment into this little instead. And this, once again, is not your job. Not in this. That's not your job. We're drawing a portrait. There's no insteads. So, hey, there's probably stuff you do to get satisfaction.
Yeah.
Let's go look at it.
Well,
and that's
what you do.
There's no instead. And notice, then that leads us to, hey, great. Now you can notice when you're doing relief moves.
Yeah.
And you can notice when you're doing satisfaction moves. And that's what you're doing. That's what you're setting up.
Helping them to notice the difference.
Right. So now I'm going to go right back to the beginning. The original matrix had nothing in the quadrants. Nada. Zero. They were blank. And they remained blank for several weeks because the original matrix was only noticing the difference between your sensory experiencing and your mental experiencing. That's the vertical line. And the horizontal line represented noticing the difference between how it feels to be satisfied versus how it feels to get relief, to be relieved. That was it. So you're noticing the difference between senses and mind, noticing the difference between relief and satisfaction. That was it. That's all it was. And then we added in the other stuff for multiple reasons. I'm not going to get into it. But you'll notice that's what I just said. Oh, now you're set up. You can notice when you're doing relief moves, and you can notice when you're doing satisfaction moves. That's that noticing that difference. By the way, you can also say at any given time, you can stop and notice the difference between what's going on in your five senses versus what's going on
inside.
Boom. You can. The other stuff is in the service of those two. So a little bit of theory there for you. But and don't worry, Fridays is when we explain that.
We'll dig into this a little more.
We'll dig into that on Friday. But for now, that's it.
For now, we're setting up the practice, and you can begin to see now why what we're talking about here today is really all about practicing in the way that Kevin and I use the matrix.
If you start throwing in your own words, you run the risk of getting away from the behavioral anchors that learning theory and relational frame theory that this is built on top of.
Yep. Your fidelity goes down.
Right. So it starts with a philosophy of science. It then goes to a theory of language and cognition. And of course, contained in the theory of language and cognition are the behavioral principles, what Tina was talking about, the functions, the negative and positive reinforcements that are there. And so this is tightly built on those. Fidelity. You use extraneous words, you can get out. And that's why we don't use extraneous words, by the way. We don't, because we're playing tight, staying very tight to that. Because we're not on a talk show.
No, it's not for entertainment purposes.
No, we're not going to throw in entertaining kind of stuff and all that. We want to do. And why? Because remember what I said, you're noticing the difference between senses and mind and relief and satisfaction. By doing that, you're increasing psychological flexibility, which increases the chances people will be more creative. That's what you're up to. That's it. You aren't here to change the world or give anybody any advice whatsoever. But you are there as a stimulus that sets the context up for increasing psychological flexibility. Now, here's the cool thing. Remember I said everything you do with the matrix goes back on you. You're going to increase your own psychological flexibility.
Yeah, you can notice the difference.
You're going to increase the chances, and I'm just going to use the word creative today, creativity, creative ideas. So that's it. That's all you're up to is increase psychological flexibility and increase the chances of creativity. Anybody interested in more creativity?
Or have you had enough in your life up to this point?
Oh, yeah. You know, I'm all full on creativity.
Yeah, my creative days are behind me.
Those are behind me. I'll give up on those.
It's nothing but the same old for me.
Most people will be interested in that. I am. Most people are, and that's why Phil and I have similar elevator speeches or things that we say to people when they ask, "What do you do?" And we'll say something like, "I'm a psychological flexibility trainer," or I'm a psychological flexibility
The
expert.
Yep.
Count on
Or
the
I work
central,
from the psychological flexibility point of view.
right? But we'll get psychological flexibility in there.
Yeah.
And why? Because we learned many, many years ago, people go, ooh, I think I want that.
Yeah.
Because
I think I could use some of that.
right. I've never met a person yet who didn't think they could use more psychological flexibility. I mean, I'm 100%.
Yeah.
Nobody said, damn, I got plenty of that.
Yeah, I'll pass on that.
No, yeah, don't tell me. No, nobody. They all go, yeah. And I even said, I'm a psychological flexibility trainer. Would you like to see how I do it? It only takes about 90 seconds. I go, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I can literally, and I've timed myself, been timed. I can do one loop, not two, but I can do one loop in 90 seconds.
Oh, yeah. One loop, 90 seconds.
Well, I'm well practiced. Phil's well practiced.
Yeah. Can pull it off.
But we can
I have pulled it off.
Oh,
many times.
Done it. Every day on Instagram. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does them on Instagram.
These really quick.
Yeah,
And why can you do them quickly? Less than 90 seconds, right? You can do them quickly because you're just setting up a context where other people will hopefully increase their psychological flexibility. That's it.
Yep.
And it's not required. They don't have to increase their psychological flexibility.
Nope.
If it shows up, great. If it doesn't, no harm. And we are truly no harm. We're not.
Yeah. We don't want to add to anybody's misery.
No. So, and we'll go on from there. Oftentimes works. We'll put it that way, folks. It often works.
We are increasing the probabilities. Definitely.
To do that. But to do it with fidelity. When you go up, if you're a major league baseball player and you go up to the plate, it looks sort of similar across all the batters, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Oh, yeah. They're showing up for a purpose, for sure.
I mean, they have a stance and they got a bat. It's on their shoulder. There's a whole lot of similarities. Now, there's differences, yes, I will admit, but the fidelity's there. Well, that's what you're doing with this. It's high fidelity. And they're going to say, gee, what Kevin does looks a whole lot like what Phil does, looks a whole lot like what Tina does, looks a whole lot what Ron does. Yeah.
Yep. That's the point.
That's the point. Right? This is not for you to be inventing. But why? Because we've practiced for 2 decades now or something like that. No,
well, we're well past the first decade. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we're well past the first decade of practicing this. And in the service of, we practice it in the service of watching other people and seeing if their psychological flexibility increases. You can see it.
Yep.
That's the fun thing. You can see it happen. So there you go. That's the beginning. That's go practice. And if you want to be certified, great, practice and sign up for certification. Once your certification fee is all there, well, listen, it's performance based. We literally watch you do it.
Yes.
No multiple choice questions.
Nope.
No. We see you do it, and we know if you're doing it or not. Remember all that fidelity thing we just talked about? Well, you're just on track. You're just doing it. You're not going off on your own tangent somewhere. That won't get you certified.
No.
Right down the middle of the plate. And it's fine. You couldn't. Please do it because you'll never have so much fun in your life. It's really a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh!
Whether you you don't have to get certified at all. You can do this without being certified. But if you do, please try and stick close to fidelity. Try and stick close to what we do.
That's what we're asking.
Right, but you don't have to get certified. We are not that type. This is not that type of program. Okay, so we're not putting this out there and then putting, you must be certified. You must spend lots of money our direction. No.
Nope.
However, we'll give you some perks if you do. We'll put your name up in the lights.
Oh yeah. You'll be in the pantheon of Act Matrix facilitators and trainers.
Right. And you can come play with us,
Yeah.
Or sign up for certification, sign up for mastermind, sign up for one of the courses. All of it helps us do what? Spread psychological flexibility. That's what we do.
Yep.
That's
You can even try us out for free now. We have a little.
you can try mastermind out.
Want to try us out? You can sign up for a meeting.
Yeah. Sign up. Do it. We do business building. Then the stuff where we really go in and don't charge very much money, but a little bit of money is on the business building side. And we'll help you set stuff up because we've been doing this for years. So we know how to set up a internet-based coaching business.
Coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, crisis management,
Whatever
training,
coaching you want. Psychological flexibility.
business building.
So
You name it. Fill in the blank. Fill in the blank coaching.
But the template is the same. It's just getting started on the template.
We use the matrix as our base of operations.
Yep. So come do that with us. Do lots of
Yes.
stuff with it. And some of you already are.
Yeah. And we enjoy having you.
Yeah, we
Please
enjoy
talk with
it.
us.
And anybody who's here they'll see. And they'll say, yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
Fun. We'll be on tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 1 o'clock for our mastermind.
Is our next mastermind.
And then another one at 4 tomorrow.
Yep. Tomorrow's our 2 for day. We do 2. So
And then one on Thursday and one on Friday morning.
Yep. They're cool.
Yes.
Much creativity. Last week, really cooking. A lot of creativity, a lot of really cool stuff going on. So see you then.
Yeah.
We're done. Go practice. We'll be back for intermediate. There's more.
Intermediate on Wednesday, folks.
Just go practice.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye, folks.
Bye-bye.